Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and the conversation has been on private company conversion and listing bill. And I have here with me Mr. Bimbo Atilola. He is the Deputy Chairman, LCCI Commercial Law and Taxation Committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Atilola, for staying back.
Thank you.
Right. Now, you said in your submission that it would lead to breakup of companies to circumvent the law. What do you mean by this?
Thank you very much. What the LCCI is saying on this is that under Section 1 of the bill, it states that once your the shareholders fund is in excess of 40 billion, or your total assets or turnover is in excess of 80 billion, that what some Nigerian private companies will do in an attempt to circumvent the provision of this law is to simply break their companies into other subsidiaries. So if my company is currently doing 100 billion turnover, to circumvent this law, what I need to do is to register a subsidiary company, move some of those operations to 2 or 3 other subsidiary companies, which will now start doing 25 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion, and by so doing, you will have circumvented the provisions of the law. So what we are saying is that if you pass this bill into an act of National Assembly, those private companies, we call it evolved strategies to circumvent it.
All right. Now, you said that the bill would discourage enterprise growth and innovation. Why would you say so?
Yes.
And how?
Like I said earlier, most owners of private companies, they derive joy in absolute and total ownership. And I can tell you, go and look at the history of some very successful private companies in Nigeria. They never go public because they want to be closely associated with the company. They don't want their shares diluted. So one of the driving spirit of entrepreneurship is the joy of ownership. So when you begin to compare them to give out their shares to invest in public who were never part of the startup of the company, then in our view, it is capable of discouraging innovation and entrepreneurship.
All right. Now, are you saying that there is no merit, at all for this bill?
Well, I will not say so. But what I will say is that on a total overview, the bill is counterproductive. There are better ways of doing this. Look at it. Look at the basic objectives that the sponsor of the bill, according to him, wants to achieve. The first one is to boost developments,
of the
promotions,
and then of the Nigerian capital market.
Now, instead of you compelling private companies to convert and list, you can make some incentives, tax incentives to private company by saying, if you convert and list to public company, these are the tax incentives that you are going to get. And they can put in place mouth-watering and irresistible tax incentives that will make a compelling business case for companies to list. That you can do. Secondly, in my view, the general intent of this bill simply reinforces the need to amend the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 1990, a law that has become so obsolete and devoid of any contemporary relevance. For instance, one of the objectives of the bill is to increase public disclosures and accountability of the private companies so that their proper tax liabilities can be computed when you make your books available to public and publish it in accordance with your status as a public company. But again, CAMA can be amended by making provisions that if you qualify under any of these three thresholds, whether you have 80 billion capital or turnover, then you must, in addition, notwithstanding your private status, you must publish your books. Thirdly, another thing that we can do is to also encourage the amendment of, there's an act in Nigeria, they call it Financial Reporting Act. There's an entity they call public interest entities, which have obligation to disclose. You can also amend that act and state that, and expand the definition of companies that qualify as public interest entities, that they must also publish their book. So by so doing, what this act seek to achieve, you can actually achieve it by amending our existing laws. But to say that private companies should come and list compulsorily to boost economic development, in my view, is to take patriotism too far.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bimbo Atilola. It's been an interesting conversation. Let's just hope that both the National Assembly and all the stakeholders involved would actually come to a resolution and agree on the way forward, and perhaps see how to get, because it would also be nice to have particularly some of these in telecom, for instance, you know, some of these companies should actually come to
in fact, there's actually a thinking that the bill is actually targeted against telecom companies and the energy sector. Because look at all the major telecom operators, the GSM companies in Nigeria, all of them will be caught by the provision of this bill. All. Yeah. Yes. And look at the private companies in the oil and gas industry, the Chevron of this world, the Mobil of this world. In fact, all the major marginal feed operators, all the major upstream companies, all right, and few ones in the downstream will be caught. All right, Mr. Atilola, let's just hope we'll just get it right in bringing out this law. Well, we've been looking at the private company conversion and listing bill, and we've just heard the LCCI's position. They don't think it's what the country actually needs now, and a lot needs to be done. Perhaps all the stakeholders need to come together and chart a new course for it and prefer a better solution. Well, it's in that note that we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. Thank you very much for being part of it. I'm Chimizi Obi Iwabu. Have a good afternoon.